Welcome, everybody, to Opportunities Connected with me and Justin Ladson, and I'm Yemi, Griot, and we're excited to have you here with us today. It's our new program, our new podcast and show here on YouTube and other channels that you can tune in for weekly to see what's new. And we just wanted to share more with you. This is, I think, just a great opportunity for us to meet with you and share things that are available to you, not just in your local community, but just in your community in general. So everyone, welcome to Opportunities Connected. Thank you, Justin, for just doing this with me, and you know, it's just this really unique and really great opportunity to make sure our voices are heard, but not just our voices, but those we want to hear from. And so, I guess the best thing to do right now is to talk about what is Opportunities Connected. Is it just another podcast or another reason to waste time? To me, it isn't. It's a great opportunity to lift yourself, a great opportunity to find access to opportunities that are available to all of us in our community.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what separates us from everybody else is we're not in LA living in these big houses trying to connect with everyday people. We are both family men. Like, I have my kids, you have your kids, and we get stuck. People tend to get stuck in the rat race, and we want to figure out how we can get people out. So the opportunities we find and we use and we learn, we want to spread the joy, like spread the love, for sure.
And if anyone, and those who do know us, and as you as a viewer get to know us, you'll see that here we're just at the starting point. Who knows where we're going to grow to, and the types of opportunities not only that we find available that we share awareness on, but the type of opportunities we can create here in this space. And so we need to hear from you as well. If there are things you know about that you'd like to share with others, please don't hesitate to let us know. We'll share the email down below, and not only in the details, but also below you'll be able to see the email you can reach us at, and then you can just reach us on our channels. And so we're just excited to share with you. And so as we start off, not just talking about what the show is and Opportunities Connected, what a part of this, and one of the things we wanted to talk about is, like, as we rise, we want our community to rise. What does that mean for you, Justin?
So 100%, like me as a young entrepreneur, I was always tired of learning from my own mistakes. Like, eventually when I got a mentor, when I found out, like, wait a minute, I don't have to reinvent the wheel, business got easier. So Opportunity Connect is our great backgrounds and learning from other people, and we just want to share the knowledge. That way someone else is going through something that maybe I went through or maybe you went through.
That's right.
They can have a shortcut to get from A to Z. So really,
I feel exactly the same way. I've always, since a young age, always wanted to see ways I can be a positive input to my own community around me. And even to this day, when I have the opportunity to donate to charities, I try to look for not just charities that might support any unfortunate crisis that may have occurred outside of this country, but any charities that support a lot of the things happening in the community around me. How can I give to the school system around me? How can I give to the parks? How can I give to supporting those who might have less around me, so that I'm not in this position where I feel like, okay, the world is just falling apart around me. I want to at least play a part in bringing up the community around me. And so I like this opportunity here, this channel, creating the space where we can talk about those things.
I love that you say that, because sometimes people feel like, I'm just one person. I can't really change. But with what I do for a living, like I get to work with kids, and kids will come back and be like, hey, didn't I see at that one event that happened like 2 years ago?
Right.
Which to me, maybe that would have been like just another event. But to that child, it was like, wow, I was excited and I still remember that 2 years later.
Right. It had such impact. And that's the thing. That's what we're talking about. It's and I know many of you have across all the social media places have probably seen some of those videos that talk about if you can't save all, at least if you can save one or something like that. Or even like I'm looking down at the beach and I only see my footprints, and turns out those are not your footprints, those are the footprints of someone carrying you. We all get the gist. We all know of those sayings about how the impact of one or a few can make on a larger community. And I think that, this opportunity here that Justin and I are doing allows us to create that space. And so I'm excited about it. And so one of the things we wanted to bring up is like identifying some of the things in our life that might be holding us back. As we're looking at ways to help our community rise, we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're overcommitting. Before we can help someone else, we've got to put ourselves in a position to succeed.
And I love that you say that, because I'll be the first to say I'm not perfect. So one of the things that holds me back, in not just life, but in business as well, and with my family, is I can't be the only one that feels this way. But I feel like if I don't do it, it won't be done right.
Right.
So being able to truly step back and say, I need a team. Or with my wife, like I need my wife versus her being in the picture.
Right.
Really is what helps me become a better person.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It's not only learning to trust yourself, but trusting the people around you. And I know that it's so wild. Like I've had the great opportunity to see you, Justin, lead your teammates. And Justin, he is a sensei, as we refer to him as Master Justin, at Prestige Martial Arts in Manassas, Virginia, and where he teaches a combination of different martial arts to the youth and adults. But one of the things I've seen in those classes is how we're teaching, or how you all are teaching the younger ones to trust their teammates, to trust the ones around them. And it's so funny because you see kind of like that change of language as folks go into adulthood and they're working in business, whether or not they're becoming an entrepreneur or trying to move their way up in the ranks. Often you hear that one saying, don't trust anyone. And it's like you do that switch, not realizing that maybe those aren't necessarily the correct words. Maybe it's less about not trusting anyone and more about learning to trust ourselves enough to know that we have enough discernment and enough good judgment to know when someone is not telling the truth. And so it's less about not trusting everyone around you, but trusting yourself to know from your past experiences and the experiences of those around you when an opportunity is good and when an opportunity is bad, so that you don't allow. Go ahead.
From a business aspect, right? Some people are like, you know what? I can just do it all on my own. And if I do, I would make more money. Now, here's the give and take, right? Because now that you are working 80 hours a week, doing everything by yourself, when you have time for your family, you're going to blink and your kids are going to be grown. And we all know when kids are younger, they want to spend time with you. When they're teenagers, you have to fight for their time. So having a team and being able to rely on people really allows you to be in the moment, like live in the moment. I know generations now, they want to live in the moment. They want to enjoy life. So being able to trust and rely people is definitely what gave me the ability to spend more time with my amazing kids and my family, of course.
Right. One of the other things that I try to look on, and because you find not everyone's the same, but as you're learning to communicate with others and learning to build with others, sometimes you get the sense, or you get the notion that people might take advantage of your kind heart, and don't allow that fear to deter you from moving forward. In fact, use it as an encouragement to move forward. More people will be positively impacted by your kind heart than discouraged by it. And sure, there are always going to be people out there that take advantage of people, but they're going to take advantage of you whether or not you're showing a kind heart. So it's not so much, trying to hide who you are or not wearing your heart on your sleeve so you don't get hurt. It's more in an effort to say, you know what, here I am. This is the genuine me. I want to give myself to support my community. And sure, yep, there are going to always be a few out there, but don't allow them to deter you from doing some good. Now, with that said, also don't overcommit. It feels like I know you want to give to animals, you want to give to the kids, you want to give to the homeless, you want to make sure all the sickness is gone.
Take care of home first. Take care of home first. Yes.
Yeah. Look at the ways you could give to yourself so that you can be more for others around you.
Yeah. Like, Yemi, let me tell you a story, right?
Go for it.
When I first started, I was probably about between the age of 19 and 21.
Right.
I was a yes man. The yes man. We all know that. Hey, Jessica, help me here. Yes, man. I got you. Hey, can you help me with this? So I was driving like from Fredericksburg one day to Fairfax, all within the same like time frame, and then eventually like I would just not show up.
Right.
So I agreed to everything, but then I wasn't showing up. So imagine how that made me look as a person. Like I'm now the unreliable guy.
Right. And then people find that they can't, in their minds, depend on you, and so that breaks down that lack of trust. And for those of you who are viewing us or listening to us right now, we're out of the Washington D.C. metro area, and some of you who might be in the area know that just Fairfax by itself, if you go from one side of Fairfax to the other, that's just a long trip. So imagine, Fredericksburg, which is about, roughly about 50 to 60 miles outside of D.C., going to Fairfax, right, with no traffic, to Fairfax, which is about, maybe 5 to 10 miles outside of DC, but just as a huge county, all of that consumes so much of your time. And so I can't even imagine trying to make all those things happen within a short period of time. And
brother, let me tell you, like the change that I made, saying, you know what, if I two things that I tell myself. One, I have to want to do it.
Yes.
I don't want to do it. I don't commit to it. That's my first and foremost. I no longer feel like I'm forced to go places or I'm forced to do things. So if I want to do it, which I have the kindness of my heart, I will do it.
Yeah.
And then second, does it make sense with my schedule? Do I have to sacrifice time with my kids to help somebody? I will never do that.
Right.
So just like work, just like anything else, I plan time with my kids.
That's right.
So those two rules. My schedule.
It makes sense to me. It makes beautiful sense to me. It's like finding the value of the word no, and stuff. And no doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be a very positive thing, not just to yourself, but to the loved ones around you. Like you said, making time with your kids. That means saying no to some of the other activities that may take up that time. And just like you mentioned earlier, you don't want to lose that opportunity to grow with your young ones because they grow up so fast. And not everyone has children, but there may be some significant person in your life you want to spend time with. And
puppies, cats.
That's it. That's it. And so it's about making time, even if you're making time for yourself, you can't get that time back. That's one thing that so many folks don't have, and that is time. And you want to make sure you maximize the time you have. And that goes right into our next part where we're talking about using the tools around you.
Yeah. So let me just jump at it again, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times we try to take things on, not realizing the people who are around us.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I'm redoing the floors at my facility, and I was preparing to have this huge project on my own. So I just put out a Facebook post, hey, who's good with floors? Not only do I have a buddy coming to help me do the floors, he's actually donating a lot of spare floor parts like tiles to help me do the project. So my cost, been in the thousands, is pretty much close to zero.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And that's like you really, rather than you trying to take on the project, but also
Mhm.
run your school at the same time, that would be overkill. It would just be
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I like to do, at least not even just at work, but even at home. If there are things that I want to figure out whether or not it has to do with things in my yard or learning more about how to uh, manage my finances, or even at work, if I'm looking at, the dreaded thing so many people cannot stand, except for those who are experts in it, are spreadsheets. Like looking at a spreadsheet is like jumping into here. I'm about to date myself.
Bro, I am with you.
It's like jumping into the matrix. But
Yes.
I know it's just
Let
dating
me
myself.
give you a term one of my coaches, mentors, great
Yeah,
friend, once taught me is the word outsource. So,
that's it.
come from a middle class family, and my coach told me, why don't you hire a nanny? Why don't you hire a house cleaner? Why don't you hire someone to do your yard? And I'm like, I'm not bougie. I can do this on my own.
Right.
But a great point that he made is if you're doing all these things on your own, a point that you mentioned earlier is, do you really have time for yourself? Do
Right.
you really have time to put into what you're good at?
Right.
So the word procrastinating doesn't mean you don't like you're delayed doing something. It really means it's giving somebody else the opportunity to do what you don't want to do.
That's right.
So
That's right.
outsource.
Outsource for all the way. Whether or
Yes.
not you call it at your job, delegating, learning to delegate.
Delegating.
If you don't know
Yes.
how to delegate, turn to your mentors, whether or not they're your official mentors or your not official mentors, and ask them, say, look, I've got all this work. How do I do all this work in an efficient amount of time? Or,
So,
go ahead.
yeah, so I was just gonna throw you out there. What are some things that you delegate
Yeah,
that you
that's right.
have in your own
So
personal life?
yeah, so we'll just start with taking on tasks at work. I love doing production. I love whether it's doing music or video or something like that. But if I'm doing all of those things, I'm not able to do the other parts, which are making sure schedules are put in place, or making sure scripting is done, or making sure rundowns are put together. So a lot of times I've learned to delegate the editing or delegate the production, or turning to friends of mine who I know in the field who do great production. And what it has done, not just in terms of doing a great lift off of my shoulders, but it has taught me some new tricks. I've been able to learn from them and their experience things that I didn't personally know, that has helped improve my ability to deliver great and quality products. And so so not just in delegating production, even in putting together presentations for others, turning to those who I've seen do great presentations before and saying, hey, you know what? I need to learn to trust that person to do that. Saying, hey, here are the things I'd like to talk about in my presentation. Can you help me do that? Here is the information. Here's the details about what I want to talk about. And so they've been able to take that information and put it together in a way I didn't even think about. And so
Exactly.
it
Yes.
just helps improve the flow altogether. Plus, it building and building those teams and building that trust helps to like erase like walls, because a lot of times when you start doing a lot of stuff yourself, it makes people think that you don't trust them to do it. It also makes people think you don't want to be bothered. Also makes people think they can't approach you. And so if no one feels like they can work with you, all of those things, and then now that wall is put up. And so when you're working with others, if you're learning to delegate with others, then that wall isn't that you help to remove that wall, and folks can trust you more and work with you more.
Yes. So now my question for you is, right,
Right.
when you delegate people, are you on top of them saying, do this right? Like, are you watching their work, or do you delegate and let them do their thing?
Well,
People know.
that is a fair question. I remember when I was younger being really nervous about that kind of stuff, and then, not sure if the person's going to deliver. And I had to learn over time how to really do that. And as I've gotten better and as I've gotten older, one thing that I've done is not just pour in all the things that I need, but talk to them. what's a reasonable amount of time for them to turn around on that work?
That's
Can
key.
Yeah, and that's the
Oh
thing. Like,
man.
you don't want to
Mhm.
say, "Hey, I need this by tomorrow. Do it stat," and then that person can't deliver based off of a one-way contract that you've given them.
Yes.
It's got to be their input as well, and it helps you to manage expectations so that you're not walking out there saying to someone, "Hey, you know what? I can deliver this by then," without having any backup on that. This
Yeah,
way,
so here's a great part, right? I love that you said two things, right? Inspect what you expect.
yeah,
Also, let them come up with a time frame that they can have the thing done, right?
right,
But you also want people on your team that wants to grow, that can
right.
accept the feedback.
That's
So
it.
for me, I don't have to be on top of my team, but I know that when it comes for me to give them feedback on, hey, this was great, here's a 1% improvement, they're willing and able to accept that feedback to be better for the next assignment. And unfortunately, if they cannot handle the feedback, if they know it all, there's no more room to grow. So the relationship won't work anymore.
So
So,
I'm glad you brought that
yeah.
up as well. So I'm doing this um, executive potential program, right,
Mhm.
where we're learning more about even working with folks who are at that place. It's learning to say to them, saying, "Hey, you know what? You're right. You've now outgrown this position. You've matured to a place now where you should be looking at how you can share with others or how you can lead others. Help me help you find
Yeah.
your next section." You know,
Yep.
and so
There it is.
yeah, it's really cool. We in our group, I have been reading this book called The Five Dysfunctions of a Team, and it
Mhm.
talks about trust and the fear of conflict and the absence of holding people accountable, and all of those things play such a huge part, not just in working better with your team and improving to work better with your team, but
Mhm.
even to, you know, what we're talking about today, which is looking for opportunities that can help us grow, or sharing
Yeah.
or raising awareness about opportunities around us.
And it starts with us. Like,
Yeah,
so before I ever give 1% improvement to my team or just people around me, I need that 1% improvement myself. How can
right.
I be a better leader? How can I don't tell me everything I'm doing wrong. Don't throw
Yeah,
it all at me. I just need 1%, and that
right.
is it. And then vice versa. I'm gonna compliment you. Um, you got to earn those compliments, man. You
Yeah,
need to put in the work. And if you're putting in the work, which everybody on the team does,
yeah,
then what's 1% improvement for me? What's 1% improvement for you?
right.
Let's get better. We're not,
That's it.
I'm the best of what I am. I want to be the best of
Yeah.
what I am all the
And
time.
so that, and then, gosh, I love. We could go on all day.
Yeah.
But as you're talking about reaching that level or that mark, right? What happens when you reach it? Do you lose sight of the vision? You know, you often see folks say that one thing, but they're not hungry anymore.
You're going to
Well,
love this answer. You're going to love it.
yeah. So
Right?
so it's like, what do you do to maintain that A? What do you do to maintain that success?
So I'm gonna give you on the business side and personal side because I know there's a lot of families watching this show.
Yeah.
On the business side, what's the next venture for Prestige? Like my company name is Prestige.
Right.
Like, all right, we do martial arts now. Do we want multiple locations? Multiple brains is better than one brain. So why
Right.
do I need to be the person to come up with all the
Right.
what else can we offer? How else can we better serve our amazing community? They come up with all these great volunteer works, donating events, like things that I would never even thought of. Like,
Nice.
yes, let's have our own toys for tots for kids. Let's do it.
That's right.
And then on the family side is like, all right, I got the house, the white picket fence, but is that it?
Right.
Like, all right, so my wife and I, we get together and it's not just my vision, my goals. I truly try to hear what's her vision, her goals.
Right.
So are we both reading? Are we both trying to grow?
Right.
That's what makes our bond so strong is that we're both reading like books and then we come together. All right,
That's
check
right.
out this idea.
Yeah,
And
because you're a team. You don't want
yeah,
to end up
yeah,
running over your other teammate with your ideas. You want to work together with them. And so,
yeah,
you know, a part of maintaining that success is, like we were saying earlier, is continuing to work with the team. So it's like
my wife will run me over if I try to my boundary. She, yeah, I try to say I'm the head of the household.
Right. But it's an appointed role.
Yes. So we learn whether we want to have like eventually down the road investment properties, or like how are we saving for our kids' colleges? Like we come together. It's not just this is what I read in a book. It's all right. I read this, she read that. This is our experience. We come together and our family grows strategically together. And so does my business. It's 80% of the greatness at my facility is not came from me.
Right.
You may quote unquote call me the CEO, but my amazing team has thought, hey,
that's it.
This is more convenient for our amazing members, and we incorporate.
That's it.
So,
that's it.
Yes.
That's it. Well, I can't wait to have more conversations like this with you, and you as the viewer or the listener, please feel encouraged to reach out to us here at Opportunities Connected to share your ideas or things you'd like for us to talk about. And we're going to come up with some ways that we can interact back and forth with each other as well, because we want to be not just sharing awareness, but engage with you so that you can share awareness as well. And so, Justin, I'm excited about this. This is Opportunities Connected, man. Let's do it. We got more coming to you all, and I'm excited about it.
Excellent. Same here. So I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Please don't hesitate to tune back in the next time for the next episode coming to you weekly here on Opportunities Connected. Talk to you soon.
Yes. Take care.